to Fantyx versus Matrin as we go into game number 1 of a best of 5 for the second semifinals to figure out who will face Vulcan in the grand finals of the WARNO League Division 2. Here on the right side, Matrin in red, bringing in KDA, and on the left side, Fantyx bringing in his favorite division, the 5th Blindé, the French Armored Division, though it's not the most amazing map maybe for them. Chemicals, a lot of forest, a lot of close-range town fights up here. So the AMX 10s will have issues getting their 2,275 meters range onto the board. Meanwhile, KDA, a division that we see quite often on this map. Leifens, for example, won the semifinals game against Karma Vivid on this map. But yeah, 5th Blindé, still a division that can be pretty strong. It has fallen off a bit of favor since its nerfs. It's not quite as OP as it once was, but it's still a good division. So it's going to be an interesting match here on this map. And yeah, let's go into an amazing best of 5 and figure out who will face Vulcan in the grand finals. Gruppe Antichar coming in the lovely VAB T2013. Couple more in AMX 13s with 50 cards only though, which is interesting. Not a unit you see too often being used, as it is relatively slow. It has no armor. And there's a 20mm version, but even that 20mm version is usually not used too much. The 50 cal version even less so. So, going to be interesting. Meanwhile, AMX 30B2, a tank coming in as well. But the big question is, how much damage can the AMX 10 RCs do in the front? Whilst on the other side, KDA obviously coming in with a good amount of spaz nuts. Rushing them forward. One AMX 10 trying to go there in the center, but spaz nuts will find it there. Me Too coming in from the rear as well. Couple of BT-76s, a vehicle that you don't see super often on the battlefield, especially not in the tank version. The recon version we see a couple of times. The issue is it fires heat shells, which is a good and a bad thing as well. It damages everything it hits, and with at least 1 damage, but the thing is it doesn't get extra penetration the closer it gets. And also 1,750 meters, not the greatest of ranges. So for 30 points, only 2 frontal armor. Usually not a unit you see too often. Like even the T-34 85s usually see more play since they got cheaper. So interested to see what Matrin will do with that. Behind it though, a unit that you see every time with KDA. Currently the ZSU 57, really strong. Most likely a bit too strong, but yeah, you gotta use what you get. Meanwhile, MiG-27 here, trying to get the AMX, won't be able to get that. Roland 2 gets the hit in. Mirage 200 comes in with its super high speed, 1485 kmh, gets the kill there. So, good kill there. One AMX 10 though, falls to the spaz nuts OP with the amazing RPG 29. More spaz nuts here pushing in the south. On the other side, Superflam with AMX 13s and some Gruppe Antichar. Spaz nuts though are really scary against that. Osa trying to get the Mirage. Will miss with the second shot. Won't be able to get it. The Me Too helicopter got killed by that. Whilst meanwhile in the north, we have a bit more forces for Fantyx as the push of Matrin comes in the south. Matrin coming in here with spaz nuts camaraderie, even wanting to capture this zone. And upwetting this units even further. KDA Schützen moving forward, trying to deal with the Sapeurs in the north. Fantyx okay with just getting the corner, not pushing any harder at the moment. Whilst the Superflam now get attacked by KDA Schützen and spaz nuts, get annihilated here, completely overwhelmed. Get annihilated in a couple of seconds there. Spaz nuts doing good damage, and KDA Schützen also the scarier the more veterancy they get. As yes, on those veterancy they're not super big damage dealers, they still tank really well. But If you get them up a couple of vet levels, they actually become really scary. Spetsnaz here in the south don't have any anti-tank around them just yet. Spetsnaz OP coming up though. So the AMX-13 for now could get a couple of shots off, but now gets overwhelmed, and the Spetsnaz easily dealing with the Super Flam down here as well. Overwhelming them. BT-76 losing out against the AMX-10 as expected, but the infantry in the south is the problem here for Fantyx. Maybe a bomber could be helpful here. Anti-char now engaging the Spetsnaz OP, which is fine, but the other Spetsnaz are too close. Needs to disengage there. And yeah, we have one zone captured at the moment for each player. Fantyx captured the zone over here. Nobody is going for the center with a CV just yet. Matrin now capturing the forward zone here. And yeah, on the other side, AMX-13's bringing in more flamethrower infantry. Question is, a single one of them won't really make the difference here, most likely. Pioneers coming up here as well. Supply truck on the way in the south as well. Couple of ATGMs to lock down the zone. And yeah, this is kind of scary here for Fantyx down in the south. Whilst more Motschützen are coming up, Me Too, in the north. Clears and Grenadier Voltigeurs sitting around here as well. Apilas moving forward. By the way, the bands were 39th and 8th Infantry. So two pretty standard bands. Yeah, especially 39th getting banned a hell of a lot. 8th Infantry can be pretty good on this map as well. And the map man for the series is 2 lakes. So we won't see that water map. But all the other 5 maps we might be able to see starting here on chemicals. Spetsnaz GRU moving around. Pack D44 coming up as well. Another Pack D44 moving up here. These don't deal the most damage, but against the light armor of the French, they are totally fine. Issue with anti-tank guns is that they are really soft. Like, they get killed off quite quickly if they get into a tank fight. And the AMX-10 RC with the good optics sees them quite quickly. So they have to be somewhat careful. But on the other side, with the high rate of fire they got, they have 13 rounds per minute. And the low armor of an AMX-10 RC, for example, they could also get the kill there before the AMX-10 can get a shot on them. Meanwhile, up here in the north, Grenadier Voltigeurs fighting the Spetsnaz. Spetsnaz finally might go down here, but Motschützen come in to deal with the Grenadiers. They are not in a building, which is obviously not great for them there. Have to move in there now. We'll fight the Motschützen in the building. AMX-30 gets the kill onto the Fagot ATGM. And the north not looking great for Matrin, but at the same time the south is looking desperate for Fantyx. The red forces here absolutely overwhelming, and if Matrin can push up all the way here and can lock down this bridge, then Fantyx is in hot trouble on the island as well. But for now, Fantyx able to push here, using his light vehicles as well. Motschützen over here getting heavily hit. Spetsnaz GRU trying to hold the north, more GRUs coming out. E44 trying to unload into the forest. Well, it's down in itself. The Parlor Fagot tries to hit the real RA50, gets the hit there. Spetsnaz GRU moving around. Another AMX-30B rolling in the rear for the center. So 2 of these tanks will be there. On the other side, only the D44 at the moment being around, using its HE shells to deal with the Grenadiers. Getting killed off though by the AMX-30 moving forward. AMX-30 pretty scary, as they also have a 20mm autocannon. If they get close enough to infantry, they actually can shred them quite quickly. That's the power of them, though the frontal armor and the side armor makes them a bit of a big class cannon as well. Ooh, roll on 2, getting 2 consecutive hits here, getting a kill onto a MiG-21. But MiG-21 before that got a kill on 2 nice infantry squads. So, was okay. It was not the worst trade there for Matrin, but still good AA kill here for Fantyx. Whilst his infantry push in the north continues. Up to a +1 now. thanks to capturing the zone in the center. Matrin currently controlling these two zones. One of them clearly on the side of Fantyx, but that doesn't change that red is heavily in favor down here. T-55's moving in here as well. Superflam being around. A couple more supply trucks maybe would be helpful here to bring the Spetsnaz up to ammunition. Giving them back their RPOs. Getting this one also back to full strength to allow engaging these easier in the forest. Roland 3 trying to come around. Spetsnaz not quite in range. Should be moving one step closer maybe to be able to use its anti-tank launchers. But Fantyx currently completely focused on the center of the map. Even bringing in another... no, bringing in the CV for the southern zone. Okay. AMX-30B2 moving into the center as well. So, yeah, most of the focus still being here. As the Grenadier Voltigeurs moving forward, Spetsnaz being pushed out. Couple of T-62s trying to come in there. Good amount of KDA shots and T-55s rolling in as well. Another CV coming in here for the southern zone for Matrin. The T-55 CV, which is interesting for a rear zone. Usually not what you see. ATGM here dodging the AMX-10. Doesn't want to get hit by that. That's the Spetsnaz and Pioneers move forward in the south. Pioneers got kill onto one of the Superflam. Spetsnaz GRU disengaging a bit deeper into the forest again. As a bit of AA setup comes in now in the south as well. Not sure why the GRU doesn't try to get its kills. Guess he just wants to keep it as a scout there. But it could have gotten some damage in for sure. Superflam chilling here in the rear. Meanwhile in the center, AMX-30B2 gets into a fight with T-62s. And should have the upper hand there thanks to the rate of fire. Penetration wise, they are pretty much on par with each other. But the extra rate of fire is a big difference, and the accuracy is also better on the AMX-30. So the 9 versus 6 rounds per minute is a really big difference. AMX-30 gets the T-55 there. 10% difference in accuracy, also big. T-62 here gets the hit in though. Does a good amount of damage. AMX-30 not able to get the next hit. Smokes off now, disengages. Other AMX-30B2 heavily damaged. Needs a repair. Meanwhile, Dino South, ATGM tries to get the hit against the AMX-10, against the ATGM here. GM can't quite get the AMX-10. AMX-10 moving forward. Trying to get the kill. Gets microed here around the smoke. But the ATGM can't finish it off. ATGM's not trying to hit the VAB. Will they be able to get that one? Yes, they do, but then the AMX-10 comes around. Gets the kill in return on the first ATGM. Second ATGM now firing. AMX-10 might not be able to get off into smoke this time around. Yeah, gets heavily damaged. Doesn't really get a good hit onto the ATGM. But at least does route behind the smoke for now. Meanwhile, the voltage is trying to hold the buildings around here. T-55 moving forward. Mirage 200 coming in for the Mi-24. Osa not getting the hit in, but the Mirage doesn't get a full on attack run onto the Mi-24 as well. Gets 8 damage in, but doesn't get the kill. And has to be careful. Osa gets 1 hit in, but misses the other 2 shots. So Mirage 200 will survive for now, but took good damage there as well. Meanwhile though, ooh, this is kind of scary here. KDA Führer don't have any anti-tank. And the VAB T-20 got into the rear here. Not a really lightly armored vehicle, but it has a 20mm on top. And that is super scary, as it will shred the KDA when it finds it. Meanwhile, Jaguar HE flying around here as well. Trying to get some hits in. Center still in the hands of Fantyx, still on a +1. And Matrin has to do something about that. Has to, I think he has to push harder down here in the south. Gets the kill onto the AMX-10 over here. And there's basically nothing here stopping Matrin from getting up here, cutting off the reinforcement road down here. But he's not doing it. And that gives Fantyx time and room to maneuver in the center. Which obviously is not great for our player in red here. BT-76 is coming up as well. T-55A chilling around. BT-76 moving up. Last one for Fantyx. More AMX-30s. Fantyx really bringing a surprising amount of tanks for this map. Gets another T-55 kill with them though. Like, the AMX-30 B2s do really well. Usually we don't see tanks doing this well on this map, but Fantyx makes it work. Gets hit now by some artillery though. The first Malka is out, the first big 203mm. And this AMX-30 will bite the dust. Good hit there from the artillery, helping out the T-55 to win that fight. An AMX-10 RC though, down in the south, together with P4 Milan, engaging the reinforcement lines of Fantyx here. Mi-8 TB helping out now, trying to push it back. As Milan is moving forward, down to 180 GM. AMX-10 RC also a problem over here. Schützen trying to get it into a building so that they can shoot upon it. Should jump from building to building though. With moving around, they will reveal themselves most likely. P4 down to 2 hit points. Should die any second now. Okay, missed their last ATGM as well. Book coming up. That would have been a big loss. Could still be lost actually over here. Okay, yeah, stay over here now. Book ATGM. Really helpful against the French air spam. One of the other strengths of the French division. Like, the strengths of the French division are the MX-10. Then their MX-30's power against other lighter tanks. Their air tap and the infantry's good anti-tank. Like, they're really good at fighting vehicles. Even the light anti-tank rocket launcher, the LRA CF1, still has 850 meter range. With 50 penetration, which is not amazing, but the 850 meter range is really the big part of it. So, AMX-30B2's moving up. And the other great ATGM is the Apilas, which with 21 damage is really on the top end of anti-tank rocket launchers. They lack a bit of infantry numbers, and they lack a bit of infantry CQC. They also have some issues with not having any heavy armor stuff, so long duration frontline fights, not 100% down their alley either. KDA Schützen here, trying to get their RPG on target, Will get the kill here against the VAB 20mm. But more of them come around here now, together with Grenadier Voltigeurs pushing forwards. Vesnat CRU getting overwhelmed. Pioneers versus Grenadier Voltigeurs engaging over here. +1 for Fantyx. Schützen coming up. 57mm moving around here as well. The KDA Führer in the north did survive. Mi-24P came around in time. Another VAB trying to come in here, who got spotted there for a second, but does disengage for now. It'll be interesting if it will be spotted over here. That's the Pioneers tried to hold the line in the north. Engaging the Grenadier Voltigeurs in the open at the moment, as they still sit on the road. They should get into cover. Otherwise the Pioneers will win this fight most likely. Not when the AMX-30 with its automatic cannon and its main gun comes around. Auto cannon helping out big time there against the Pioneers. Pioneers getting shredded. Yeah, that's the problem against the French. A lot of 20mm autocannons all around, even on their tanks. +1 now for Fantyx. BT-76, hence Besnat's pushing against the recon infantry there. And yeah, Matrin really slipping on the opportunity on cutting down the south completely. A bit too slow on the push here in my eyes. Allowing Fantyx this permanent +1 here. And also now allowing Fantyx to get the reinforcements in to stop Matrin most likely from cutting off the south completely, while still having a big advantage in the center. So Matrin might be losing this game here now. Sappers coming around, getting some of their satchel charges onto BT-76, but not dealing massive amount of damage. Whilst they get slowly eliminated here. Get stunned now. Malka helping out from the rear, but on the other side we have 2 big artillery guns now as well. And they tried to counter battery. Malka did move though, so they're not perfectly on target. Will move a bit further away though, as it will still be in the splash radius most likely. So good move there from Matrin, getting that thing out further. That's in the center. You have some AMX 30B moving in, using their autocannons now against the helicopter here. Helicopter disengaging. And there's no anti-tank outside of that around here. So the AMX 30s get a ZSU 57. Roland 3 tries to hit the Me 2. Won't get the hit just yet, but the Me 8 here most likely didn't disengage far enough. Autocannons once more engaging on top of it. And it will fall here. And Fantyx on a great push in the north. And now Matrin needs to invest into the center, but can't really afford that. Yeah, or at least it will come to the cost of not being able to push out Fantyx completely in the south. And it brings in the CV into the center, but I don't see how that CV is ever going into the zone for more than a couple of seconds. So this is going to be rough. Meanwhile, AMX 30B2 moving forward. That is you on the fire. Getting killed off, so no AA up here in the north either. Osa got killed, both ZSUs getting killed. Fantyx on a good way here, making his favorite division work again. Besnat's not quite able to finish off the AMX 30 here. KDA Schützen with only an RPG 7 most likely won't get a hit on target either. Really low accuracy, already on the base value. Combine that with their extra accuracy penalty from being low vet, and then also the stressed that also reduces accuracy, and they go down to basically nothing, like maybe 20% or so accuracy. Meanwhile up here, Sapurs and Grandier Voltagiers will finish off the last remaining unit, and Matrin is in big trouble here in the center. AMX 30B even moving into the rear zone here, something that you don't see often. That there's a direct connection from the center open to one of the enemy areas. Usually you mostly see sneaking attacks there, not a direct move. The AMX artillery here, trying to find the CV in the southern zone as well. Is relatively close, but not quite on target. But the issue really for Matrin down here is now that he can't shut off this reinforcement road into the center. So Fantyx can continuously push units in there. Spetsnaz here might get caught in the crossfire of that artillery barrage. Go down to 1 hit point. And there they go. From the other side, AMX 30B under fire by the Malka. One of them getting heavily damaged. Going down to 1 hit point. But does move out of the way quick enough to not die. Conquers though, against the AMX B2 over here. First one gets a good hit in, second one can't quite follow it up though. So the AMX 30B2 does smoke off, does disengage. Meanwhile, KDA Schützen under fire here. Grandier Voltagiers trying to help out. More units coming in from the rear. AMX 30B2 engaging the Spetsnaz. Spetsnaz Comrade nowhere close to ever getting in here. Only 3 infantry units versus 5 tanks and 5 infantry units, 3 anti-air pieces, a couple of IFVs and APCs as well. In the north, Alouette found this CV at least. Airplane coming in for it, it seems. Yeah, Jaguar HE coming in. Book not getting the connection there on top of it. So the CV here most likely will fall. Will bring Fantyx up to a +3 for a while. Oh no, he actually didn't get the kill there. The bombs were slightly off target. Okay. Me-24 Pedo has to be careful. KDA Schützen coming around. AMX 30B got on target on the Me-24 with its autocannon. Jaguar could finish it off easily as well. +1 now for Matrin though, who got the kill onto the CV in the south. But still has a big challenge with the enemy's tanks here. And a couple of infantry units. Good amount of AMX 30s, but all of them once more running into the center. Like, this is a risky play from Fantyx. Don't know, he already has control over the center. Obviously wants to keep it, but I feel like those AMX 30s would be so helpful trying to secure the southern zone here. Gets the kill onto the CV in the north by now. So Fantyx up to +1 again. Yes, we have more VAB 20s coming in. And Matrin trying to push forward here. T62s engaging the VAB in the north, but AMX 30s now coming around. Yeah, okay, the AMX 30s not going into the center. Fantyx realizes that it might be time for trying to clean up down here in the south. And securing his roads into the center, into the south as well. AMX 30s moving forward. T62 under fire. First one going down. Second one under heavy fire as well. Goes down as well. D44 moving around. Gradient voltages coming up. P4. PC moving in here. Next we have more pioneers coming in from the side. AMX 30s rolling forward. Ooh, Conquers coming around in numbers. But 5-6 tanks around here. Supply trucks as well to keep them repaired. Like, if Fantyx is not completely overstepping it, these tanks should be enough to clean house here now in the south. Unless the cluster bomber or so comes around. Fantyx for sure with the big advantage at the moment. Up to a +3 now by contesting the southern zone. Even will try to bring up SCV into the northern zone here. Moving a couple of infantry units in there as well. Brings in another AMX 30. So 7 tanks here. 7 medium tanks. Moving forward. VAB moving around here. KDA Schützen under fire. VAB T20 moving around. D44 engages the Grenadier voltages. Stuns them down. PT76 B engages the Grenadier voltages. Gets a nice stun there as well. Conquers ADGMs flying towards the AMX 30s. We'll get one nice connection there. We'll get one side shot. Artillery onto the Conquerors now coming in though. And that should break the position. Yeah, Fantyx has traded insanely well in the center especially. Like down here in the south it still didn't go super well. But the center's fights were really good. Using the tanks there nicely. Matrin didn't find a solution for the center and really let his advantage slip in the south. And now the artillery will get rid of the Conquerors. Both Conquerors down. And that allows the AMX 30s a lot of freedom down here now. +1 will continue. 13 minutes remaining. And Matrin is down nearly 1,000 points. Getting 1,000 points back in this game is not an easy task. And I don't think Matrin still has it in him with the units he has on the battlefield. But yeah, if this CV somehow can get in here, it just, yeah. KDA, usually a division that goes by numbers, and he's squandered a lot of his numbers. He doesn't have critical mass anymore, but this kinda is critical mass of tank forces here. As I said, like you need either great helicopter play or cluster bombers or anything like that to beat this. Or a hell of a lot of Tu-55s, but we don't have that around. And yeah, now these tanks just are an absolute wrecking ball. Moving forward, killing one unit after another. MiG-21 HE coming around, damaging a couple. Go down afterwards though to the Roland 3s. AA holding the line. Pioneers moving around. Grenadier voltages under fire. +1 for Fantyx. Another VAB T20 13 coming around. More AMX 30 B2s. And yeah, the south is going down here. And That is obviously the only advantage Matrin had all game. It was a big advantage once. It's not anymore. And it's starting to look like he's on a disadvantage here now as well. So Matrin having basically no units left in the north to use aggressively, and now running out of any aggressive force in the south as well. Fantyx is the one in charge, and with Fantyx already being up 1000 points, that is disastrous here for Matrin in game number 1. 20 voltigeurs engaging the KDA Schützen. AMX 30s hitting them nicely as well. Meanwhile, more AMX 30B2 coming in for the center. Coming in for the north, actually. Trying to help out, contesting that zone. Not sure if the P4 did stop for now. Didn't go in there. But it's not really needed there anyways. CV here in the south. It has some RPGs, so vehicles have to be somewhat careful around it. RPG 26, relatively potent. Not amazing though. 16 damage. 675 meters. But against the 3 hit point AMX, that would be enough. Yeah, AMX have to be careful. Moving into the forest here, maybe a bit overeager from Fantyx. I don't think it will cost him the game, but it cost him a lot of units here moving in with the tanks into the forest. Like, this is perfect tank territory. This clearly is not. So, AMX 30 now engaging some anti-tank guns down here in the south that are not quite in range. Artillery trying to find the Spetsnaz. Spetsnaz camaraderie though, moving. Clever move there by Matrin. But the CV still taking for Fantyx. Artillery coming around. Malka. I'm not 100% sure what they're firing. Okay, they tried to get the P4 here. They most likely will get it, actually. Bit off target with the first couple of shots. P4 not moving though. So they should get it. Yeah. We'll get Matrin a +1 again. But the +1 is not enough at this stage. And Fantyx easily can replace the CV in the south. +1 only gives Matrin 40 points per minute. Which would end up at 400 points more at this stage. So 600 points. Needs more than that. Needs a +3 for sure. And Grenadier Voltigeurs now in the center. Stopping him from getting any reinforcements in. And winning the south doesn't help him fully. Like, yes, winning the south is nice. Gets him to a +1 and so on. But he needed to get this winning in the south thing into winning into the center thing. The center is a +3 zone. It's the most important zone on this battlefield. And you can't just contest this south. You need, if you invest so much into it, like Matrin did at the beginning, you have to go for shutting off the center. If you get that done, the game is basically yours. That's like the cool thing about chemicals. Like, center is the most important zone, but fighting around here can have a big impact on it as well. So the balance, finding the right balance between investing into the center zone and investing into this area of the map is really key. Plus, you then have also the flank around the corners. But yes, Spetsnaz here under fire. AMXs actually get the kill there. Actually will cost Matrin that zone as well. +3 now for Fantyx most likely. As Fantyx will get a CV down in the south as well. And will even move the CV up in the north. That will be a +5. MiG-27 AT flying around. Spetsnaz coming in. And that's the artillery over here. Is moving around as well. Sapeurs and Sapeur Flamme coming in. Against the Spetsnaz camaraderie. We'll find them. We'll kill them. That will be a +7 then, with the CV in the north moving in. And that will be game. So, yep, good game by Fantyx. Surprising pick and surprising outcome in my eyes. Like, usually we don't see KDA losing on this map. It's a pretty strong map for this, so well played by Fantyx, getting it done with 5th Blinde. Yes, 5th Blinde still a strong deck, but for sure not a classical chemical pick. And he used them, like, he was really careful a long time with his tanks, getting them on the right moves. His tank micro there was pretty good as well. I mean, yeah, he is a Division 1 player in Steel Division, on the way now into Division 1 in WARNO as well, no matter the outcome out of the semifinal, and really showed why he is there. His micro on the tanks, really nice positioning. Most of the time, pretty good as well. A bit over eager here in the end with the AMX-30, but he was able to afford that. His game before that was good enough. Gets another MiG-27 here. And Matrin, good base idea at the beginning, just has to be a bit better on the execution in the end. Book getting a nice kill here as well. +7 here for Fantyx. And Fantyx on the way to a 1-0 lead in this best of 5, but still far from over this game. This series will go on for a while. Superflam versus Pioneer Flamethrowers fighting over here, but the +7 is ticking really, really quickly now. And this is over for Matrin. Like, this is the moment where you can absolutely tap out. There is no point in staying in this game at this stage. Me24P going down on the north. CV does contest the north again, reduces it to +5. That's still 200 points per minute though. So, yeah, Spetsnaz moving around in the south. Grenadier Voltigeurs versus Spetsnaz. Grenadier Voltigeurs under heavy fire. Spetsnaz moving further forward, me too. To engage. Here be T20 versus me too over here. T62 gets the kill. And now we are a minute away from victory for Fantyx here. AMX-30B2 chilling out in the rear. Puma sitting around. CV over here. Last remaining unit on the island for Matrin will get picked off. And what a game! What an interesting game here from Fantyx in game number 1. Clear victory. But yeah, well played. Really, really well played by our player in blue. Didn't expect that outcome when we got in here into this. Not gonna lie. Spetsnaz under fire. Getting shredded. T62 versus T20 around as well. Mirage gets another kill here in these guys. And the KD on the end should be heavily in favor of Fantyx as well, as we are in the last couple of seconds here. Meanwhile, yeah. Bug gets the kill up there. And in the end, yeah, Fantyx with a good advantage in points as well. GGVP. The AE did okay here for Matrin, but the rest of the units not doing too amazingly. Malka getting a couple of CVs, yeah, but no super important other targets. And on the other side, oh, Spetsnaz Camaraderie actually defending themselves pretty well in the end, but that was all the death struggle there. AMX-30s though, getting nice kills all around. Roland's actually, Roland 2 is especially actually being surprisingly effective against MiG-21s. And yeah, the AMX-30s, some of them just racked up really nice kill numbers. The 20mm autocannon helping out so much in those town fights. Really well done by Fantyx here in game number 1. Let's go into game number 2 after number 2. Fantyx up 1-0. And we are on map number 2, which is Vertigo. And Fantyx is bringing in the 3rd US Armored Division on the left side. Matrin on the other side brings in the 39th Guards Motor Strelky. Classic matchup on Vertigo. Matchup that we have seen a couple of times. Spans also pretty standard. 79th, really strong on this map with the T80UDs. And the 82nd Airborne, always solid on the map like this as well. So yeah, classic bands, classic picks here. Currently, 82nd for sure can be solid. And yeah, before we go in, once more shout out to Matrin, where the prize pool of this tournament got funded, and you can help out a bit more as well by using the codes here on the side, for example, to add free money using the sponsor quests. We already added quite a couple of free monies to it this way. By just visiting a website, not doing any interactions on it, just visiting it, you can add the 20 cents per visited website here. And there are a couple of options here. Lucid Sound, and then Matrin also has a survey and so on that you can do to add money to the prize pool as well. But especially the Lucid Sound thing is easy to do. Adds 40 cents to the prize pool if you visit both websites. And then also, you could contribute directly. Yeah. Prize pool will be paid out to the top level players of Division 1 mostly, but also Division 2 a slight bit at the moment. $20 prize pool for the winner of Division 2. And the highest price, and yeah, it gets bigger if we go up to $800. So, yeah, currently at $700. Big thanks to everyone doing so. And then a shout out to this Friday, where we will have the 4th Friday Night WARNO. I will be joined by Eugen Damned again. And you can find all information on our website, playsdl.com. You can also find the stream schedule there every week. And you can also find all other informations about the tournaments, stats, for example, for the Season 9 group stage of Steel Division League, and so on. Like, a lot of good stuff on the website as well. That said, let's go back in, and let's have some fun on Vertigo with Fantyx versus Matrin, game number 2. Okay, we have M150s, ACAFs coming around here, military police, couple of Bradleys, couple of Chabrals, engineers with dragons. Classic start with the cost-efficient stuff of 3rd, and then you bring in the big boys later on, together with A10s, for example. And on the other side, we have Matrin coming around with BMP2s, and a good amount of helicopters as well, Mi-24 VAA, Mi-8. A TADB V, a classic start as well, having one big tank, and 39th. You usually can afford that, TADB V, on a price point where you still can afford it. Losing it does hurt, but it's not as big of a loss as, for example, TDU or an M1A1HA or Leo 2A3. And it still beats all the light stuff, so it is a big struggle for the enemy to deal with it. That 17 frontal armor is real nice. Matrin in itself bringing in the CV, most likely for the rear zone here. Question is, will Fantyx do the same, or will Matrin go up in the take? It seems like Fantyx won't do the same. Brings in an Apache here. Bradley coming around as well. Couple of military police units with M67s, recoilless rifles. Really solid unit. Vajvetgas moving around here as well. Foto Vajvetka coming in for the north. Good amount of Motostrelki BMPs. Trying to get in here. Scouts in ACAFs. ACAFs having a really nice recoilless rifle as well. 17 damage on the M40. Can one-shot most of the BMP series. 17 damage, really, really good. F-15 coming around from the get-go here. Okay, Fantyx obviously worried about Su-25 starts. Question is, will there be an Su-25 though on the other side from the get-go? I don't quite know. I don't think so, but there might be. No, I don't think he has quite the points over. For one, F-15 coming around though, might find the Mi-24. Mi-24 and Mi-8 have to be careful. Should change altitude to low altitude so that the F-15 can't see them as easily. As losing them to that Eagle would be kind of painful. But the Eagle doesn't go for it. Does stay away in the rear. Eagle moving forward. Su-27, since the latest patch, a pretty good air superiority fighter as well in the 39th. Its agility buff really important. I mean, it's still not the most agile of planes, but before it was an absolute brick. Now it actually can turn decently. So the Su-27, a pretty good plane in the arsenal of 39th. So plane that the F-15 has to be careful of. You don't want to stick to the front line for too long. F-15 flying around till it runs out of fuel, it seems. Making sure that no Su-25 comes in without protection on the other side, ripping the Apache apart or something like that. But we have more Engineers Dragons and more Fireteam Laws coming in here in the south as well. Iglas chilling out on the other side. Vajvetka coming in here for the building in the front. Mi-8 MTA moving around. Mi-24V moving around as well. Couple of Motostrelkis and TADBVs flying in. Engineers. Bradleys coming up. ACAF rolling in here. Me24V getting some nice hits, will get the Engineered Dragons killed. AA not around in the north for Fantyx, and that's a problem. Bradley using its Bushmaster to push the Me24V a bit back, but the T80BV and the BMP3s are around, and that Bradley is in trouble. Engineered Dragons will get overwhelmed here as well. BMP3 got a bit hit a bit by one of the Engineered Dragons ATGM hits, but doesn't get killed. 5 frontal armor does give it a lot of survivability, and the fire teams will get one hit against the T80BV with the Law, but the Law won't worry the T80BV too much, and the fire team Law will go down as well. Last unit here remaining in the north for Fantyx for the beginning. So Fantyx is in trouble. Brings in the Apache to help out. ATGM flying towards the T80BV actually. Doesn't get the hit though. And has to be careful of any kind of planes, any kind of AA coming for it. Apache, juicy target, 240 points. F-15 coming around for the Me-24. Won't get the kill though. And the Busa and the Osa will get the kill onto the F-15. Big losses here for Fantyx. And the start here in game number 2, really, really strong for Matrin. Fantyx in big problems in the north. Brings in Chaparral and the pivot, but has to have units in front of that, obviously, for it to be really helpful. Osa now trying to come up onto the Apache. Apache most likely will get the BMP-3 there, yep, but has to be careful. Has to get the hell out of there. Gets stunned here. Osa gets one hit. Apache will get the hell out of there. Thunderbolt coming in for the Osa and the Pusa. But a lot of AA coming up for it. Okay, it gets the double kill there. SU-27 though finishes it off. And that's still an okay trade there for Matrin. A-10 biting the dust. SU-25 could hunt down the Apache as well. Chaparral's not the most amazing anti-aircraft units. Pivot and Chaparral's from over there getting a couple of nice shots off. Apache does duck down though. Ooh, one of the Chaparral's gets a hit in. SU-27 down to 2 hit points. But will get the hell out of there. Will take a good while to repair though. But yeah, a bit more AA in the north could be nice. Yeah, Matrin bringing up another Osa. But having a nice position up here. Southern zone, a bit better for Fantyx obviously, as Matrin invested so much into the north, but has to push that advantage. Military police now moving forward. Bradley moving in here as well. More military police. M67s coming in the rear. ACAFs coming around. Bradley moving into the south as well. And yeah, this start was really, really rough for Fantyx. Me-24V being pushed back in the north. Osa coming around. BTR-60 PBK holding the rear. I don't like... Yeah, one of the issues of 39 is that you don't have any 100 point CVs. And the BTRs are the cheapest you get, 420 points. And only 3 availability. That's one of the few things that you kind of struggle with in that division. Also moving around. Getting up here. BMP2. Engaging the Chaparral. Will most likely get the kill there. Oh. Or not. No, Chaparral still moving down to what hit point. BMP2 just not getting the last hit though. Matrin shortly on a +3, but Fantyx does get 2 CVs into the rear zones as well. Just the big issue being the north right now. Southern push though, coming in nicely. Military police and Motostralki under fire. Medis gets the kill into the Bradley though. Bradley, really strong damage output with the Bushmaster and TOW2s, but only 3 frontal armor, so they can get killed off quite easily by something like a Medis with 17 damage. Apache engaging units in the north again. BMP2 this time under fire. Might get hit there. Yeah, BMP2 gets taken out. Osa on the way, trying to take revenge. ACAF though, has to be careful there. Bradley could come in for it as well. And good micro here from Fantyx, getting the Apache out of line of sight of the Osa. And the Osa shouldn't chase us any further. ACAF is around. And the Bradley could be pretty deadly as well. Motostralki here, maybe a bit overeager from Matrin. That shouldn't overstep the welcome here. KDBV not around to protect the Osa right now. Osa under fire, gets killed by the ACAF. Yeah, big blunder there by Matrin. Will get the ACAF in return, but the ACAF only a 35 point units. So killing an Osa with it absolutely worthwhile, especially as it allows the Apache now to roam freely again. Another Strela on the way, but that will take a long while to arrive. Only 79 kmh on the road and has to go a hell of a long way. Vertigo already a long map. If you push deep, it gets even longer. So, getting reinforcements in here, not an easy job for Matrin. What's the south is getting pushed by Fantyx. Conquers and Rotretka holding the line against the Engineered Dragons. More Engineered Dragons coming in from the rear. A Scout coming in here. Me-24V AA down to 3 hit points in the north. Should be careful. Should get a MTLB and get repaired. A couple of BMP2s now, a couple of infantry units, but the Apache on the other side, really, really dangerous. Has to be absolutely careful of that. Piusa AA coming in as well, so 2 AA pieces for the north again. The south, only a couple of Iglas. As the Engineered Dragons keep on pushing. TADB coming in here for the south. Not the most amazing of tanks. 14 frontal armor is pretty lackluster, but it still deals good damage. And the Engineered Dragons most likely will go down to it. Balls coming up. Bradley though. Ooh, 80 GM. And yeah, the Bradley, really, really scary for TADB. TADB disengaging there. Engineered Dragon being pushed back in the north. ACAFs moving around. And M1A1 is here as well. Is better than the TADBV in a direct confrontation. Extra 1 penetration and better accuracy. Helping out big time in a direct confrontation between a TADBV and an M1A1. But 2 TADBVs outclass an M1A1 easily. And the TADBV can try to get an advantage with its ATGMs. Getting 1 or 2 hits in there will for sure change a 1v1 situation as well. That's another BTR comes in the south with some Motostrelkis, but no way this is getting in easily into the center. Like Matrin in the south has to play defense now. And has to wait till he can set up something that can push back in here. Pushing really hard on the north. BMP2s now, together with Motostrelkis, trying to move in here. Military police under fire by the 30mm autocannons of the BMP2s. Trying to get the kill there. Getting the stun most likely soon. ADBV pushing up as well. Bradley and M1A1 scrambling. Me-24 got repaired, but under heavy fire by Pivot and Gibraltars. Most likely will go down here. There we go. Won't be helping out against the M1A1s. Military police being pushed back. EDBV could move forward as the M1A1 comes around. BP2s will engage with ATGMs. But the TADBV not in position to help out. Another Me-24V engaging the Apache. Ooh, Apache under fire. Strela coming up for it as well. Strela firing on the move. Going down to 40% accuracy. With ECM even lower. So Apache will survive with 1 hit point for now. SU-22 coming around with HE bombs though. Gets the M1. And the push here in the north is scary. Apache surviving with 1 hit point is big. F-15 coming around. Getting the kill onto the SU-22. So relatively costly bombing run there as well for Matrin, but gets the initiative again. Apache here will have to get repaired. Is still in absolute danger here for Matrin's front line as the Motostrelkis move up. And this push seems to work out. It's a bloody push. It costs him a lot of units, but trades are still somewhat equal, I would say. And Fantyx's position here obviously is really dire. If this position falls, he has a lot of trouble pushing back in here. And a lot of open ground behind us. Obviously the advantage of being way closer to your supply lines than the enemy. That's the big thing about this zone. But the position here is still quite dangerous. A-10 Thunderbolt with ATGMs trying to get a connection onto the TADBV. Gets a shot off. Does miss though. Strela not in position to get a nice hit in. Thunderbolt now coming in for the other TADBV. TADBV has to be careful. Ooh, ATGM flying. Piusa actually the target of it. And now the TADBV under fire. Not getting hit. But the Me-24V AA goes down. Thunderbolt gets killed off here though. As the SU-27 comes in to finish it off. Helping out the Strela. So, in the end, still an okay trade for Matrin. Losing the Mi-24V, that costs 120 points, and the Puser that costs 110 points against the 225 point plane there. But gives Fantyx maybe a bit more wiggle room here, especially for the Apache now, with 2 more AA pieces going down. M1A1 trying to push in, gets hit heavily by some RPG-22s though. So has to disengage once more here, has to get repaired. Fantyx fighting hard to get in here in the north. And the T-80BVs getting the first shot onto the M1A1. And first shot here, especially when you can follow up by a second shot, big difference here. Cohesion already dropping to normal. If this cohesion drops any further for the M1A1, its rate of fire will be reduced quite heavily. 3-star veterancy M1A1 though, against only 2-star veterancy T-80BV. But gets a side shot in, the T-80BV that is. And the M1A1 loses its turret here even. Going up in flames. Turret landing next to the hull. Military police in the north under fire. T-80BV defending itself here. Got heavily damaged, but will survive. Southern zone. Fantyx not trying any deep pushes, just defending here. Equalizing this tick. Fully focused on defending the north. Not trying to do a similar thing to Matrin. Fantyx in general, usually a bit more of a defensive player in his playstyle. So, makes sense that this is what happens here. Motostrelki is holding the line. Well, Motostrelki moving forward. And Motostrela getting repaired over here. Yes, turrets can pop off. Turrets can learn to fly. Apache moving forward. We'll try to get some ATGMs onto the T-80BV. ATGM will find a connection, will get the engine destroyed, so the T-80BV can't run any further. Apache sitting around here. Strela not quite up there, Osa not quite up there to deal with it. Su-25 rocket though, coming around, can be dangerous for the Apache as well. Su-27 coming in as a protection for the Su-25, I guess. Trying to kill any F-15 coming around to kill it. As the Su-25 is out for the CV. CV spotted, and CV will get hunted here. And that will be a +3 for Matrin. F-15 coming in. Su-27, a bit off right now. In positioning, won't catch up to the F-15. F-15 is the faster plane. So if you're not in missile range at the get-go, you won't get in missile range once the F-15 has turned around and is running. And yeah, Su-25 goes down, gets the kill here, gets the +3, but that CV should be easily replaced. Still will be another minute or so off take here for Matrin. It will get further ahead. And this situation here is getting a bit annoying for Fantyx. But still 24 minutes remaining. We're still relatively early on in the game. Motostrelki over here. And Motorretretka finally found. Will get killed off by the M1A1. And only one Motostrelki sitting in here right now. Ooh, Osa finds the kill onto the Apache though. Good kill there. Apache crashes down over here. M1A1 will drive by next to the dead body. Moving forward. Whilst the T-80BV gets some shots in onto some scout units. Scout units repositioning themselves. As Motostrelki, BMP, moves around. M1A1 versus T-80BV coming around here. You can see flying turrets on T-80BVs and T-72s as well. M1A1 versus T-80BV. Staying around. Engineers versus Motostrelki. Motostrelki under fire. Scouts getting hit. And CV of the T-80BVK of Matrin moving out again. Was up to a +6 for a second. Will get equalized here in a second. Scouts getting damaged, getting pushed out. And whilst over here, Redgas and Conquerors holding the line. Military police staying out in the south. SU-27 moving around. Scout getting heavily hit here. M1A1 engaging the Conquerors. Conquerors will most likely get a hit in here. Yes, gets 2 damage on the target. So M1A1 a bit messed up. TDPV not taking the fight though, as a Thunderbolt is in the sky. Doesn't want to risk that. Makes sense. Don't want to get hit by those ATGMs. Mavericks, 26 damage. Not the most amazing air-to-ground ATGMs with 26 damage. But at least the Maverick Ds have 50% accuracy. Better than the ones that the Germans use. The West Germans with only 40% accuracy. The Maverick Bs. Gets the kill here onto Samosa. Strela going down as well. AA here getting decimated. Meet 8 MT on the fire as well. And the Thunderbolt going absolutely ham here. Actually even might find the CV over here. BTR on the fire. Gets sniped. Thunderbolt going absolutely ham. Motostrelki on the fire as well. Pretty painful here for Matrin. I mean, has a TDBVK that can take this over, but the military police finding the rear zone unit there. Quite big. AA being out of ammo was quite costly as well. Thunderbolt now even coming around in the north, in the south, getting some more kills. Absolute beasts at the moment. Thunderbolts and SU-25s, really insane damage. And will get out alive here. SU-27 not around to finish it off. Iglas trying to find the kill. Ooh, Iglas actually find the kill there. So A10 will go down and will fall into pieces. Okay, important kill there for Matrin, stopping that from getting in. So good one there. Meanwhile, ADBV moving forward. Motostrelki moving around. Couple of BMP2s. And 1A1 trying to get the UWATSs. Motostrelki MADs on the fire. UWATSs getting eliminated. Me8 MTA having a line of sight. Conquers and MADs trying to stop the M1A1. But it's finally time for a push for Fantyx here in the south. Has waited for a long while. But Matrin now under heavy pressure. The ATGMs got killed off. APCs in the form of the M113s with their MGs doing a lot of damage. M1A1 did smoke off for now. Conquers still has some missiles. Doesn't want to take the fight though. Starts to run away, but not sure how far it will get on the open ground. A lot of ground to cover for it before it can find some other position where it can hide. This tree line here, I guess, would be the best target to run to. Stopped running though. Okay, that doesn't make much sense. ADBV trying to come around. SU-25 AT trying to do what the A10 just did on the other side. Can it find similar success as it is lying around? M113's trying to push deep. M1A1 getting targeted here now. And it doesn't have smoke anymore, so it can't run away from the ATGMs. Will get hit by the first ATGMs. And the KH-25s with 30 damage, absolutely deadly. Chapral's coming in here, getting a hit in, but only one. Ooh, second one, getting it down to 1 hit point. Ooh, and there we go. SU-25 crashes into the ground. Doesn't get a hit onto another M1A1. AA does its job here for Fantyx. Loses his severe in the south though. Not quite sure how that happened. Was it just the... Was the SU-25 just getting the kill on that one? Might have been. Matrin got a couple of... Yeah, got the take there. TADBVK. CV still sitting around this zone together with 2 other TADBVs. 4 TADBVs fully assembled over there. M1A1 on the direct front line, at least eliminated, so the other units here of Fantyx stopped in their push potential. That M1A1 was a key unit. Yes, Matrin will stop the take of Fantyx by capturing the northern zone with a Motostrelki Comrade. Akatsias coming in the rear. On the other side, north. Oh, no, one M109 as well. Trying to find the enemy CV actually. TADBV and T62s pushing forward. We'll find the M113s here eventually. Me-24V AT coming around as well. M113. The TADBV, they're pretty unlucky with 3 misses in a row. BMP3s coming up. So Matrin ready to hold the line now with a bit stronger forces than previously. Getting in some AA here as well. Protect the units in the south with Coop AA pieces. ADVVs sitting around. One of them got killed. So the others did retreat a bit deeper into the forest. This one over here could need some repairs pretty desperately. Ural supply truck on the way for it. And Matrin with all the investments into the south, so the push in the north stopped for now. Defensive units here of Fantyx, not the most amazing for a counter push. Engineers, ACAF scouts, one Bradley, but like no tanks, no dragons or so. Bradley trying to move into the north, has to be careful though. The ADBV could snipe it quite quickly. And a couple of M1A1 moving around here as well. Meanwhile, Thunderbolt moving around here. Last remaining Thunderbolt, I think, in Fantyx's arsenal. Still could wreak havoc. Let's see if we can find any targets. Trying to get onto the TADBVs and T-62s most likely. Coop, ATGMs though. AA missiles though, pretty scary. 9 damage per hit. So even against a 2 armor unit like the Thunderbolt, they only need 2 connections usually to finish them off. Thunderbolt going for a killing spree here though. And the Coop so far not getting on target. Ooh, but there we go. Yeah, 2 hits, Thunderbolt down. Got another couple of nice kills, but the TADBV did survive. T-62 and the helicopter go down, but once more, okay for the price trade for Matrin. A bit annoying, but nothing too painful. Coops do the job. And down here, military police holding the line. Saperi coming in as well. BMP3s trying to get the M1A1 here. But the ATGMs are fast and long range. They don't deal insane amount of damage though. Only 18 damage on those. Pretty low damage for vehicle mounted ATGM. Scouts under fire. M1A1's holding the line. TADBV in a 1 versus 2 here. BMP3 gets sniped by one of the M1A1s. You have to be careful. TADBV disengaging for now. So the pressure on the south from Fantyx is rising again. Meanwhile, another TADBV in the north for Matrin did die. One over here got the kill onto a Bradley at least, but only down to 1 normal TADBV and the TADBV leader. ACAF moving forward, Motostalky under fire by the M1A1s. Fantyx putting up the pressure now. Matrin up to a 500 point advantage. TADBVs and BMP3 trying to deal with the M1A1 here in a 1v1 situation, but the TADBV down to 1 hit point. The M1A1 still having 4 hit points. ATGM of the BMP3 doesn't hit the target as it gets sniped by the M1A1 before it can finish the job. ADBV needs to get the hell out of there. Mech rifles with the Dragon 2 still scary for it as well. Another TADBV coming in around in the south. Motorway Shredka now changing position. Trying to get some recon in here in the south. And another M1A1HA on the battlefield. And this one outclasses the TADBVs massively. 21 damage. 20 frontal armor. TADBVs can't even penetrate it on max range. Meanwhile, itself, it deals 3 damage per hit on max range to the TADBV. And a lot more when it gets closer. TADBVs here rolling in, so as long as it shows frontal armor, the M1A1HA, a really tough nut to crack here for Matrin. Most likely will need air units to deal with that. TADBV has to disengage here. Has 2 M1A1s and 1 M1A1HA. Outclass Matrin's forces here by a long shot. M1A1s here though moved around a lot and are on the brink of running out of fuel here. TADBV tried to get a side shot in, doesn't connect though, and the TADBV here has to disengage. Gets 1 damage per hit in. Ooh, M1A1 doesn't retaliate, okay. But TADBV has to get the freaking hell out of here. More TADBs coming in. Because the M1A1s move forward. Motovachvedka under fire. Will go down. I'm not sure if the TADBV should really stay here. who has the aim advantage. No, does re-aim. Oh, that's a mistake. Yeah, TADBV gets popped. Matrin getting pushed here. TADB's now engaging, but against the M1A1 they are outclassed as well. Okay, they get actually 2 hits in, but one of the TADBs gets hit as well. Ooh, surprisingly good connections there, but it's now a 1v1. And the M1A1 still should win this one. Ah, bit unlucky. Now, luck here on the side of Matrin. Gets 2 good hit in. It's a relatively close range engagement, so yeah, really unfortunate there for Fantyx so far with the hits here. And the Abrams now heavily stressed. Autoloader for the TADB means that even when it's stressed, it still has its 10 rounds per minute. M1A1HA go down quite low in the rate of fire when heavily stressed. SU-25 here in the south coming in, trying to deal with the Chaparrals, gets 1. Trying to get the M1A1, gets that one as well. Clutch. 2 TADBVs here coming around now. Only one M1A1 on the other side. Chaparral's running out of ammo. Can't quite finish off the SU-25. Another Chaparral coming in. M1A1 here. Needs repairs. TADBVs outclass it, and with ATGMs also can shoot at it without being retaliated upon. So the M1A1 has to be really careful here. Should disengage here now, as the first ATGM does connect. HA pushing onto the ADBV. Doesn't get a shot off though, and gets hit by the ATGM of the TADB here. Gets side-shotted, gets killed. The mech rifles get the kill onto the CV at least. So Fantyx won't have to fear getting pushed in here, getting this zone contested, but loses his counter-push units as well. And tank-wise, that obviously was pretty bloody there for Fantyx, losing 2 M1A1s and an HA for a TADB, a TADBV, and a TADBVK. Like, due to the extra price for the CV, it is still an okay trade for Fantyx, but it was, in cost-wise, still a cost-efficient one for Matrin. In the north, more TADBVs, most likely not, T-62s. So, cheap-end tanks now coming in here for Matrin. Because of some BMPs. On the other side, a good amount of Bradleys. Thing is, Fantyx only has 10 minutes now to bridge a 600 point gap. Or 550 point gap. And that is still a sizable amount of points that you have to gain. Artillery also coming in on him now. And ADBV over here getting the Chaparral. More moving forward. Oops, in the rear. Bradley's moving around. M1 1383 82 coming around. Osa chilling out here. TDB sitting in the rear. Trying to disengage. One getting heavily damaged there. 62 coming around in the north. Akatsia will try to engage over here in the south. And it's 600 points here for Matrin. 9 minutes left. Will Matrin get the equalizer here? It currently looks like it. Good hold in the south. Pretty clutch. A couple of times. And the hold in the north now was important as well. If Fantyx would have kept one of his tanks alive and would have been able to push in a bit deeper here, that easily would have left to a contest in the north, and that would have been enough time easily to get it in. Yeah, even a contest in the north would be enough. A capture of the north would be even bigger. A capture of the north would still be enough now, but has to get there quickly now. And might not have the tanks anymore to do so. A lot of M1A1s with high-level veteran seed going down, and a lot of T-62s now sitting on the other side, just trying to hold the line. Motor Ural coming in here as well. ADB moving in here. Motor Strelky holding the line. Hello there, Mr. Vulcan HD Gaming. Fire Team Law moving around. Couple of Bradleys chilling here in the open, and yeah, Matrin versus Fantyx. Interesting game here. Akatsia coming up. 62 M1 rolling in as well. Matrin should be able to hold this now in the north. Like, Fantyx squandered his advantage a bit. CQC fights with the heavy tanks versus light tanks always a bit risky. On the long ranges they can't penetrate you. On the mid ranges they still do. You're losing a lot of your advantage there. So you always kind of want to have long-range engagements with the big tanks, while still the cheaper, lower-end tanks want to get really close, and where they still can get penetrations. Bradley's also not a great aggressive vehicle. Already explained that earlier. The 3 frontal armor means that they die one shot to a lot of things, so moving them forward is dangerous. It's better to use them as an ambush or long-range defensive vehicle, keeping them out of tank gun range with the ATGMs firing from a long range, as their missile is insanely strong. TOW2 with 25 damage can one-shot T-62s, but T-62s also can one-shot the Bradley if they get in range. Medis over here can one-shot the Bradley as well, so that Bradley here might be in for a rough time. Trying to go for a real-line sneak here, trying to find a BTR. Not sure if they will be able to. 2-1A1 HA actually in the south, but Fantyx is always a bit slow here, always a bit slow. And yeah, it's a classic Fantyx thing. If a game would be 50 minutes long, Fantyx would win it. But the games are only 40 minutes long, so he loses it. Really, the big problem of the Fantyx is that he is a bit slow on his counter pushes. Like, he is playing great, he is getting good KDs, but usually is a bit slow when it comes to the deciding factor, forgetting about the time limit or just not having it, like, just not playing well to it. At least Bradley over here will be found by the SU-25. Like, this M1A1 HA needs to push now. Only 6 minutes remaining. He needs some points. Okay, the SU-25 is a problem. More pulse could be helpful there. M1A1 CP coming up. But even only a contest would start to be a problem now. Like, he needs a +3 for 4 minutes. 4.5 minutes to get the victory here. And he only has 5.5 minutes left now. So he needs a CV into the slots. M1A1 HA pushing in the north as well. Bradley trying to help out. Motostraki though getting the kill there. T-62s still being around the numbers. Fire team Law over here gets overwhelmed. Engineer Dragon team not getting onto the point either. And M1A1 HA now under fire. Shows side armor to the SU-25 there. Gets popped. SU-25 still flying around. Chaparral from the rear should have moved forward as well. Gets a nice hit here. Gets the kill. But the next A1 HA goes down as well. And that should be it for Fantyx. That should seal the deal. I don't think Fantyx can come around now. Only 5 minutes remaining. And there's nothing to push with here now for Fantyx. At least not in the amount he needs to. M1A1 HA now pushing forward in the south. Relatively low on fuel though. Might run out of fuel before it really arrives into the zone here. And the SU-25 AT comes around for it. Gets a good hit in. And finishes it off in the end as well. So good kills here for Matrin. Really important ones. F-15 will get the kill onto the SU-25. But that doesn't matter. The ground is Matrin's. And Matrin has the advantage. Only has to defend it. F-15 even gets killed off by the Coop here. Coop doing a good job there. So Matrin does hold the line. M1A1 will try to move in there. Only 4 minutes remaining here though. Thanks for the follow, Bobster06. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great time. Against the TADBVs. Try to hold the line against the engineers. Engineers under heavy fire. The MP3s coming around, getting nice kills. Everything explodes. TADBV in the south moving forward as well. And 4 of them versus an M1A1. M1A1, as I said, is slightly better, but not 1 versus 4 better. Even an HA would be overwhelmed there. So, has to get the hell out of there. And Fantyx does surrender in game number 2 here. And GGVP to Matrin, getting the equalizer, making it a series. So, yeah, well played by Matrin. Let's go into game number 3 in a minute.